Boom. What's up, chat? How's it going, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. Big Monday, recovering after a long weekend of Street Fighter 6 action for more Street Fighter 6. Do you wish you went to CEO in retrospect? No. Seeing how on Twitter everybody is getting completely bodied by their flights and they're all being stranded in either Daytona or Orlando. In retrospect, I do not regret staying home and watching from afar. Of course, a part of me is like, man, I could have bodied all these fools. There's always going to be that part of you as a competitor. But at the same time, yeah, I feel like I kind of made the right choice. Hey, what's up, the guy with the red hair? I won the pool you DQ'd from. You're welcome. So yes, CEO did take place over the past weekend. Over 1,000 people actually entered the tournament. Surprise, surprise, Mena RD is the champion. The only two-time Capcom Cup champion, the current reigning champ, takes the first Street Fighter 6 major. I'm pretty confident calling this the first Street Fighter 6 major. Nothing has come close to the size of CEO, over 1,000 plus people entering. And Mena RD takes it in dominating fashion from the winner side. Pretty much uncontested the entire way throughout. He lost a few games here and there, but for the most part, it was pretty free. And just to clarify for people who don't know what's going on, the reason why there wasn't that much international competition, CEO is not part of the Capcom Pro Tour this year. The Capcom Pro Tour this year is going to be primarily online, just like the 2020 through 2022 seasons. So there will be 3 offline qualifiers, which will be EVO, an event in Paris, and an event in Asia, which are still unannounced. CEO is just an old school FGC tournament. The only money on the line was the $10 that everyone entered to actually participate in the bracket. So not like it's big money or nothing, but it's definitely the pride of winning the first Street Fighter 6 major in a tournament of this size. So yeah, some usual suspects in the top 8. Mena with first, Nephew with second. I think this is Nephew's best major performance, to be honest, at a tournament this size. I think he's cracked top 8 at a premiere. Maybe not, I could be wrong, but this is definitely Nephew's best performance, I would say, in a Street Fighter major of this scale. Punk in third, and then we have some unusual faces in the mix. Idom and Kaba in 5th, which is expected, but then we have Sticky Fingers, a local Florida player, rocking Mena in 4th place, who actually took it over Idom because Idom kind of threw, instead of doing the Mena mirror, he picked Juri for 2 games, got washed. I don't know what Idom was thinking, but Sticky Fingers had a really excellent Meno, however you may pronounce her name. And then we had Zeke and Goat Gloat, part of the Juri Army, in 7th place there. I was really impressed with both of these players. The speed and the offense that Zeke and Goat Gloat approached the game with was really interesting to see. No one was stopping Zeke's DI. It's like he would just rush you down, reset with DI in the corner, and even the best of the best. He beat CJ Truth, who has some of the strongest fundamentals and reactions in the game, and CJ was eating those DIs, man. The mechanics are real. They're part of the game. Gloat had a great understanding of the Juri rushdown and actually took it over Phenom in a clutch set and losers bracket as well. I think he eliminated Phenom. So super strong players coming out in the scene. So it's cool to see out of 1,000 plus competitors, there was actually a lot of new faces to the Street Fighter scene. There was a lot of NRS players. I believe Zeke might be an NRS player originally. There's just a lot of new faces that you could see in the top 24 and a lot of crossover between other FGC communities in this major. Like Lord Riddles, Smash Ultimate Pro. He actually got 2nd place in Smash Ultimate that weekend, but all 25th out of 1,082 at CEO for Street Fighter 6. Went far beyond my expectations, and I'm only going to get better. GG's. I feel like right now this is a big crossover event. This is the game where the FGC comes together. DBFZ was at for a little bit, maybe Strive for a little bit as well. Street Fighter 6 is currently that game right now. If Street Fighter 6 holds on to that, I really feel like those other games kind of develop their own niche over time. People who came from different spheres of the FGC kind of ended up going back to their own pocket. So we'll see if Street Fighter 6 holds people's attention, plus, you know, the promise of $1 million at the end of it. But we got a little bit of a peek at the competitive meta with this tournament. So of course, people have to dissect the character representation for the tournament. The final top 24, we have Alpha B here. CEO Street Fighter 6 top 24 character representation list. And lo and behold, all hail Lord Juri. 6 out of the top 24 were Juri. 3 row, we have Luke, Guile, and Cammy. We had 2 Kimberlys and Manones, and then 1 of each, Honda, Ken, Jamie, Chun-Li, and DJ. I'm not surprised by the amount of Juris. I feel like Juri is just like a perfect Street Fighter 6 character. There was a lot of Juri and there was plenty of Juri in that top 8. So if you go back to the top 8, Nephew, solo Juri, Punk to God, mostly Cammy plus Juri counterpick, Idom mostly Manon, but then whipped out a Juri, and then Zeke and Goat Gloat solo Juri. So we had 3 out of the top 8 were dedicated Juri players. So Juri was everywhere. But in my mind, my character kind of sort of loose tier list right now. I have Luke as number 1, Juri maybe number 2, Guile's up there, Ken's up there, and then maybe like a Cammy. Also, I've been hearing some rumblings of people saying that Cammy is not good. Punk and Justin Wong were kind of proven otherwise. They did a lot of work with Cammy in top 24 and Punk in top 8 as well. And I had to get my little jab in there too, of course. Not a single JP in top 24, to the surprise of everyone in my YouTube comments who insist he's completely broken. So yes, you complaining about JP right there. Not a single JP in top 24. What are you going to complain about now? Obviously, this doesn't mean that JP's a weak character. I think JP's still very, very strong. I wouldn't be playing him if I thought he was weak. I think Jamie's kind of weak, and I dropped him, and there's a Jamie in top 24. So it just shook up that way. Not every top JP player went to the tournament, and there was also a decent amount of Jamie players in top 48, I believe, but you know, they just didn't make it into the top 24. But he is beatable, trust me, especially by Juri. I think Juri's a bad matchup for JP. People have figured out how to counter the character for sure at a high level. They know how to implement Dry Rush to navigate past his projectiles and to punish him for trying to overextend on certain setups. So no JP bros, we're not cooking this weekend, but I'm sure we'll see some of that cookage soon in time. Lots of sick hype moments. This is one of my favorite moments of the top 8, and I think this one really spoke to a lot of people. Punk was actually down 0-2 to Kaba in the winner's semifinals in the Cammy Guile matchup, and then it all came down to the final game, final round with this moment.
He's like, I don't care. You still plus, but I'm plus. In my heart, that was the worst part, is kick in the door.
All right, it's all turned around now.
Oh man, he's about to go to burnout.
Yeah, did you see he tried to?
No.
That was so smart.
It's actually so rare to see Punk pop off to that degree. So you know he was feeling the hype. And this was a super interesting moment. So let's pay attention to why Kaba made this decision right here. Punk is in burnout in this moment. So when you're in burnout, you actually take chip damage. So Kaba was thinking, okay, if I go for flash kick, if he tries to jump, tries to do any move, or even if he blocks, it's a guaranteed checkmate situation with EX flash kick. However, something interesting happened in this moment. So Punk, he blocks the flash kick, and the chip damage is just not enough. But we had some breakdown of this interaction, and Luke here on Twitter actually figured this out for the discourse over why the Kaba EX flash kick didn't chip kill. On crouchers, the second hit will always whiff, and there is a weak and strong hit that does 175 versus 250 on crouching and 325 versus 400 on standing. Kaba got weak hit on crouching, which is why the damage was so low. So not only did he not get the standing hit, which does more damage, he also got the weak hit. So from this distance, you see the flash kick does 175 damage, and just a little bit closer, it does 250. If he was maybe a pixel closer, he would have gotten the higher damage, 75 more damage, which probably would have been enough to kill. So pixel spacing actually made the difference in terms of damage, because you have to be a little bit closer for the strong hit. And of course, if Punk was standing, it does significantly more damage because you get 2 hits. So if he had blocked standing for a second, he was for sure dead. So literally, pixel spacing made the difference in terms of how much damage that flash kick did. So I think Kaba definitely had a strong idea. It's just, you know, it wasn't in the cards. And so Punk somehow got super lucky with that far distance flash kick. He had just walked back like a pixel step too. So if he was still in this spot when Kaba did the flash kick, I think he would have lost the tournament match. That's the difference between a W and an L right there. Those few pixels. Definitely a tough loss for Kaba, but super hype moment, and Punk completed the 3-0 comeback from down 2-0. So good stuff to Punk. The big takeaway here is Mena doing his thing. And it's funny because, you know, Mena played Luke all throughout the bracket up until top 8 and in the beginning of top 8 as well. But then in a bracket where top 24, we have 0 Blankas. Top 1 is 100% Blanka. Luke is what Mena played the entire time throughout the bracket. He played solo Luke and was washing everybody in top 24, top 48, and pools, all that. But in bracket, in top 8 here, we have Mena RD Blanka. There is some lore here. Mena has actually won several online tournaments over Punk using Blanka against Punk's Cammy. So Punk actually switched to Juri as the counter pick, I suppose, for Mena's Blanka, because Blanka's been giving him a lot of trouble. So this kind of shook up the whole top tier discourse, because we had, you know, Juri is top 1 based on the usage stats and CEO top 24, and then no Blankas to be seen. And then Blanka is actually what Mena uses to get the championship. So he had a super strong showing with Blanka, and I think he really demonstrated how strong this character could be on both offense and defense, because on defense, one of the new additions to Blanka's arsenal is up back into Blanka ball. So Blanka can jump away from your offensive pressure, and if you don't do an airtight meaty, he gets up in the air, and then he can come down with the Blanka ball. That's either, if it's EX, it's going to be plus, or if it's non-EX, it'll be safe, and he can potentially punish you for going for a throw, start his offense again, or just take his turn back, or just escape your offensive pressure. And yeah, you just saw there the Blanka-Chan mix-ups that Blanka has in level 2. It really showed how strong Blanka's offense and neutral is. So lots of interesting things that he incorporated. So here's what that setup just was right there. Blanka-Chan is actually nasty. He had a few of these setups here. On the knockdown, throws out the Blanka-Chan, and then, did you see it? Did you blink? Let's watch it in slow-mo here. I really like Mena's usage of Blanka-Chan. So gets the knockdown. Blanka-Chan comes out there. You have a limited number of these Blanka-Chan dolls to throw out, so he uses one of his 3 available. You activate it by doing one of your electricity moves. OD electricity here is actually plus on block. So once he does the string on the knockdown, which would beat wake up jab, it's immediate timing. You're locked down unless you do an EX reversal. He does EX electricity here. It activates Blanka-Chan, which becomes like a disjointed projectile for Blanka. And then he does the string, and right there, Blanka-Chan puts you in block stun with this little hop. And then it's a high-low mix. There's Blanka's overhead. He doesn't block it. Blanka-Chan actually bounces off you to allow him to get the full combo, and then he can keep the offensive pressure going. So he has some nasty mix. Obviously, you can just parry through that, but then, you know, Blanka can throw you instead. So super nasty stuff. Mena actually takes it 3-1 over Punk in this set, and that puts Mena in the grand finals winner side. Comes down to Mena versus Nephew in the grand finals. Nephew rocking Juri, trying to survive the Blanka onslaught. And we even see the opposite setup that he did to Punk. So here's him doing a different setup with the Blanka-Chan, utilizing Blanka's level 2 also to get the extended turns. Level 2 is super strong. It's basically like Blanka's V-Trigger 2 in Street Fighter 5, lets you extend his extended special moves to keep the turns going and get more damage. OD electricity, he went low this time, gets the combo follow-up for the kill. So if you can't see it, let's watch it again one more time in slow-mo. Throws out Blanka-Chan. Jump in setup. OD electricity, powers up Blanka-Chan. This time he goes for the low. You try to block the dome. Combo pickup for Mena. And then takes that round. So just showing off how tricky Blanka can be. And this is not even discounting the fact that I think Blanka actually does pretty good against Juri, because Blanka Ball can go over Juri's low fireball. It kind of nullifies one of her best tools, which is throwing out her projectile on the ground that she could advance behind to get turns. And so Blanka Ball just goes clean over that, safe on block, and kind of nullifies that option from Juri. So Blanka might be the secret counter to the current top tier characters, especially with Juri in the mix. Yeah, you see in this interaction towards the end with his tournament life on the line, he goes for the drive reversal. Nephew does to try to survive. And here we go. Here's a big chance for Nephew in the final round of this tournament. He gets the stun and decides to cash entirely out, burn it all for a chance to close out the round and stay alive. Goes to the level 3, and well, you know, surprise, surprise, it ends up not being enough damage. What a challenge. You gotta understand, Mena is the guy who woke up super about 15 times in grand finals of Capcom Cup just a few months ago to win $250,000. He is not afraid. So after this level 3, Juri is plus, she can get a meaty, but it's not that much advantage. And then, you know, he tried to sneak in the overhead for the final hit. The jab comes out. It wasn't tight enough. And I know for a fact that the first thing Nephew did when he got home after this trip was lab meaties after Juri's level 3. Man, that is a painful way to lose. The Abare on the level 3 when you're making the comeback to stay alive. And then Mena for DR takes the first Street Fighter 6 major. Dominating fashion, man. Shout outs to Mena. 2-time Capcom Cup champ, the only one to do it that big, taking his first Street Fighter 6 major. So yeah, let me know what your favorite moments from CEO were in the comments below. There was lots of hype moments, lots of awesome things to check out from that tournament. If you haven't seen the footage, make sure to check it out. There will be a watch along on the channel as well, so you can check that out if you so choose. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.